thought to give that role to me. You know, he's the only director on the planet that would have thought to give Hellboy to me. And it just, he sees things in me that no one else sees. Plus he has, you know, the power of a checkbook. He can actually hire people. And so, you know, I owe him more than I could ever express, because those roles that he's given me were career defining and, you know, life altering. But yeah, he has a sensibility about what exists inside of me that he wants to see come out of these characters that he writes, that is unique, and no one else in the world. Like, the closest is Jean-Jacques Annaud. I did 3 movies for him, and he sees me also in a very specific way, different from Guillermo. But those are roles that are easy to play because he's tapping into something that exists that very few other people ever really can see. A lot of people see me as just a bad guy, you know, just like a badass, like one-dimensional, you know, big, tough, whatever. But there's always this kind of warm, soft center in Jean-Jacques and Guillermo's versions of
It also explains somewhat your character in Sons of Anarchy. There's a lot of gray areas with him. And I'm wondering, if you hadn't have done this work with Del Toro and Janot, do you think you would have landed that role in Sons of Anarchy? Or do you think that you kind of had to work up to that persona in some way?
Yeah, I think Hellboy 2 was the reason I'm in Sons of Anarchy. In fact, I'm convinced of it.
Now, did they approach you for this character? Did you have to go in for an audition?
For Sons?
For Sons, yes.
Yeah, they approached me, and it all worked out. It didn't hurt that Hellboy 2 was just about to open, and Hellboy 2 was the first movie that Guillermo del Toro made after Pan's Labyrinth. So it didn't hurt that I was, you know, playing a prominent role in the next film after, you know, that had anointed Guillermo as the most important filmmaker in the world. That helped a lot. I recommend it for any of you work with somebody who just made Pan's Labyrinth.
I think a question that's on a lot of people's minds here, is there going to be a Hellboy 3, or is that more internet speculation?
It's on everybody's mind, including mine. I've said this a million times, you know, every time I'm with Guillermo, I talk about how we're obligated to finish this trilogy. And then he tells me about all the reasons why that's probably never going to happen. But as long as I'm alive, I'm going to keep the conversation going. And I really feel as though we're obligated to you guys for hanging in there for 2 movies and getting pregnant with, you know, the arrival of this entity that has this predetermined destiny, and we have to see whether he's able to break through the curse, the oracle, by sheer will, or whether he is destined to destroy the world, which is what he was brought to the earth to do. That's the internal struggle of Hellboy. It's like good against evil. You know, he's been brought for evil, but he's been nurtured for good, and so it's nurture or nature. So that's the, and you know, the third movie would be epic. It would be. If there's any children in the room, please don't listen. Badass motherfuckers. You heard me, didn't you? He had to put his mask back down.
Everything said in this room today stays in this room, okay?
What happens in Edmonton?
All right. Hellboy character is one of the most intensive characters in terms of makeup and prosthetics. Tell us about the process of getting into that. How long does it take for you to be transformed into Hellboy?
Well, we got it down to 4 hours. First time I was ever made up as Hellboy, it took 11 hours. And it looked like, this is really going to be a drag. 4 hours is annoying, but it's doable. The best of the brightest people in the business worked to turn this into that. And so I was surrounded by people who I adored, I admired, I loved being in the company of, so don't feel bad for me, I had a great time. And I was aware every minute of it that there were an awful lot of people in the world that wish they were me. And so I have no complaints about the process. It was worth it to bring that character to life. It was worth whatever we had to go through.
And some of you may know this, but most of you probably don't. You actually donned the get-up again in 2012. Was it for the Make-A-Wish Foundation?
Yeah.
You know, if what good is it being a superhero if you can't put a smile on a kid's face, right?
Getting back to Sons of Anarchy for a moment. Yesterday I did a panel with Julian Richings, and he talked about getting cast in a Western, and he was telling us a story about how they asked, oh, can you ride a horse? I said, yeah, I can ride a horse. But he said, of course he couldn't ride a horse, but you never want to lose a role, so whatever they say, you just agree to whether you can do it or not. I was wondering if that was the case with Sons of Anarchy in terms of getting on a hog.
No, they knew I couldn't ride. And it's 6 years later, and they still do. Which is why you find my character in prison, so locked up that he can't get near hurting himself.
I also came across a project on the IMDb called Wooden Lake that looked like something that you wanted to possibly direct. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Wooden Lake, I am going to direct it. I'm hopefully directing it in January. Sons is finished in a couple of weeks, and then I'm hoping to go to New Orleans and be in pre-production. It's the first movie I will have directed. It's just a beautiful movie. It's a low-budget film, and it mainly requires great performances. So if I get lucky and I can cast the thing really, really well, I already have a phenomenal cinematographer. It should be a bit of a no-brainer, which is how I wanted my directorial movie to be. I approach directing very humbly, so it's an all-encompassing job, but it's not for everybody, and you're not going to necessarily be good at it if you're good at something else. So, but I'm hoping to do it. It's a beautiful story. If I'm able to bring it to the screen, I look forward to coming back and talking to you guys about what you thought of it.
Is there anything you can tell us about the actual plot of the film?
No.
Okay.
The film doesn't have much of a plot. It's what makes it beautiful. I don't like plot-heavy movies. I like character-driven pieces. I like stories that you get involved in, idiosyncrasies of the behavior of the community. And that's what this is. It's just beautifully written, and the characters are deliciously kind of people you want to spend 2 hours with.
If you want to get in on the Q&A, we're going to have you line up right there with Mandy. She's got the mic.
Hurry up.
And while you guys are lining up, I've got one other question.
That's good.
Now, you smoke a lot of cigars in your films.
Did you represent Canada in the Olympics?
So orderly in Canada, look at that one. I wanted to ask about cigars. You smoke a lot of cigars in your films, and you're an aficionado in real life, correct?
I quit 2 years ago. I made a deal. I met my doctor when I was about 40, and the reason he became my doctor is because I said to him, "You're going to tell me I need to quit smoking?" He goes, "No, in your line of work, I'm going to tell you you need to smoke more, because that's the only thing that's not giving you a heart attack." So he became my doctor for life. About 10 years into our relationship, he said, "You know, you're going to have to quit one of these days." And I go, "Yeah, I knew this was coming." And I said, "Today?" He goes, "Well, not today." I said, "Well, just let me know, will you?" About 2 years ago, he let me know, so I quit.
Will you still smoke them on screen if the role demands it?
Yeah.
And do multiple takes, perhaps?
Only for you, not for me.
All right, let's take our first question.
I'll take one for the team.
Attaboy.
Do it for the people, sir. First of all, if Ben Affleck can direct a film, I'm certain you're going to do a great job. Okay. I just wanted to ask you, you know, we all love watching you kick butt. Nothing makes me happier than seeing you punch someone in the face. But I would like to know, you...
Can I get your phone number?
I still have that 20. Anyway, I was wondering what sort of role you actually like to do. Do you like to do stuff we want to see you do, or what do you do to please yourself?
All right, get that 20 out, baby. So little time. I've played, every character that I played, pretty much, 98% was because I loved what I read on the page. And that's basically my whole standard. If I was reading a script and the material is original and the world is not anything I've ever seen before and not predictable, and then we get to the character that they're looking for me to play, and I go, this guy's interesting, I've never played anything like this before, I'm in. And that's basically my standard. So it's not any one thing or another, it's the writing. It's always the writing. And I've become a complete freak for the process of screenwriting. I'm about to launch a company. I'm about to produce 10 films. The company's called Wing of Prayer Pictures. And the only reason I'm doing it is because, you know, I feel as though the best writing needs to reach the people. You know, not necessarily transformative movies, but movies like Wooden Lake that are just beautifully written. My pleasure.
As a quick follow-up to that, does your company have a specific style that it wants to use? Is it going to make genre pictures, or is everything wide open? Is it really indie? Or?
It's indie, and it's like $1.5 to $7 million movies. That's it. And no special effects, no car chases. Well, maybe a car chase. No CGI, just stories about people. And they can be genre movies. I just did a movie in New Orleans last year. It's a psychological thriller. It's one of the best scripts I've ever read. It's really incredible, but it's a genre. And so, you know, and it was a low budget film. So I don't ever rule anything out, as long as the writing is good and it's not one of those movies that you see the studios falling all over themselves to make because it's like a ride at Universal.
Dr. Ninja.
Am I under arrest? Let's hear it for the girl with the handcuffs.
I've heard quite a few stories about actors taking mementos of films they've been on.
Yes.
What's the favorite thing that you've possibly illicitly taken from a movie set.
Well, I tried to get the shoes. It's a big rim.